Good morning. Today is Monday, the 30th of June, 2025. I live in northern Idaho. My name is Andy. And yesterday, I was going to go for a mountain bike ride at Canfield Mountain. At the last minute, I decided not to and go work and go tattoo my client instead. I thank God for whatever reason I didn't do that, because as some of you may have seen it on the news or haven't seen, there was a mass shooting. I wouldn't really even call it a mass shooting. This kid lit a fire to bait the fire department and the police, and he shot the fire department, killed two of them, and the third one's fighting for his life. Police exchanged gunfire with them, and at the time the police on the scanner weren't sure if there was multiple shooters or not. And the reason why they said that, okay, keep in mind I go there every weekend. I know this mountain like the back of my hand. The side that he lit the fire on is really thick and really steep with brush. It would have been really hard to identify what direction things were coming from because the brush is so thick and you can't just hike through that forest. It's the side that it's over close to a shooting range called Fernand Shooting Range. It's on the east side of the mountain that he lit it on. It's a big mountain, okay? It's a very steep mountain. Like I said, I go there pretty often. And I feel really bad for the fire department that lost a couple of brave souls, and we need to pray for their healing and their families' healing as well, because this is totally unjustified, obviously, and I just feel that this is wrong. And if you guys want to know a little history of the area, I think I should preface this whole thing by going off about this area. During the 90s, there was a strong Aryan Nations compound, and what I mean by strong is there was quite a few people that were in this compound, maybe a couple hundred, okay? They used to throw rallies and have parades and all that, and no one really here really cared for them, okay? An incident occurred where a lady was driving down near their property, their compound, and these guys, being on meth, thought that this lady was trying to rob them or she was a Fed or something. I don't really know. But they shot at her, and it was like buckshot. Some of the bullets hit her car, and she fled away. Well, from that incident, the FBI came and broke these guys up, arrested them all, busted them all for guns and drugs. And in June 29th of 2001, they burned down the last compound out here. Well, yesterday, June 29th, was exactly 24 years from that date. So something really weird is going on here, okay? Because they've identified the shooter, Wess Roley of Arizona, 20 years old. So this kid's not even from the area, and I called it. This is a psy-op, 100%. You better believe it. For years, the media has been trying to paint this area as some extreme MAGA, right-wing, extreme hateful, everybody's racist out here, and that couldn't be further from the truth, okay? The reality is that, yeah, there's not very much diversity here, but the average crime rate out here in Coeur d'Alene is 1/5 the national average, and you can fact check me on that. Yeah, there's crime out here, but not nowhere near what it is like in other parts of the country. We have a really nice community, and a lot of people want to live here. The media is trying to paint this area to be a bunch of hateful white people. And like I said, it couldn't be further from the truth. In the 15 years I've lived here, I have not met one person that thought like that. And it's really kind of frustrating, but at the same time, I'm totally okay with people thinking that or having the assumption that this is just a hateful area, because a lot of people are moving in here and it's getting crowded. Traffic's becoming crazy for this small area. It's 50,000 people out here, and it's growing exponentially. And they're building like crazy out here. And to be honest with you, I don't really want a bunch of people moving here. I would rather people think that this place is full of hate and you be afraid of it and not even visit, because you might visit and fall in love with this place and want to live here. And we can't have that. Sorry, we're crowded. But back to this shooting yesterday. I knew right away that this person wasn't from the area. Because look, if you were to Google steep mountains near Coeur d'Alene, Canfield Mountain comes up first. It's a very steep mountain. And if you were planning something and you just needed a steep hillside, that would be the place to do it. And if you didn't know the area, Google would provide you with that information. And so more than likely you would end up at Canfield Mountain. Kid being only 20 years old, but this incident was 24 years ago. How is this kid even related? And B, he's not even from the area. He's from Arizona. I found his Arizona. He went to Phoenix, college. I found his stats. He was an athlete. He did track. So why would this seemingly good kid that, you know, graduated college at class of 2024 would seemingly go around and do this? What's the goal of this? I'll tell you what this is. This is a psy-op. They want you to feel and think a certain way about this area for whatever reason, and I don't know really why. And I think it's because there's a very large anti-government sentiment here, and people are very involved in local government, and people are very politically active out here, and it's a very, very conservative area. And I do believe that's why they don't like this area. This has also been called the redoubt, in case some of you don't know. That the conspiracy, I guess, or the theory is that when the society totally collapses, that this area is going to be safe because of the community and because of the guns and because of the farming and because of everything. And by all means, I actually do think that. I think that if they were to put a fence around us, I think we'd be fine out here. There's plenty of wilderness. People know how to, everybody's got chickens, right? Like food is cheap in abundance out here. People always talk about the cost of eggs. When everybody was out there complaining about the cost of eggs, I was getting them for $5 a carton off of my neighbor, and they're better for you. But so this, just to give you an idea of what this area is, right? Like it's a small, big town that kind of got big, all right? I mean, 50,000 people isn't huge, but it's getting bigger. The shooting's a little too close to home for me, though. You know, like I said, I go to this mountain every weekend. And I know this place like the back of my hand. I know pretty much every little trail, where they go, what area of the mountain. I don't need a map when I go out here. I just know what direction to go. I could probably, if I had to camp out, I could probably survive or at least find my way out of that mountain. But like I said, it's a big mountain. People train on this mountain for steepness. From the bottom parking lot to the top, it's 3.25 miles with 2,100 feet of climbing. So it's a pretty steep mountain. Okay, it's pretty steep. I like it because of that reason. It's a hard climb. You couldn't just camp on the side of the mountain here. If you were on the west side, you'd be seen. There's too many houses. There's just too much open area on the west side. On the east side, where he started this fire at, it's way too thick and too steep. You would be seen by somebody sooner or later. Enough people frequent this mountain that so regardless what you guys might think, if you're on the left watching this, there are no militia compounds on the side of the mountain somewhere. Get that out of your head right now, okay? You know, and this is something I've noticed that people do. Whenever they lack the information, they fill that void with their own imagination. It's the ignorance curve. If you're ignorant, just throw in your imagination and just fill the gaps with whatever you think happened. This is what I've been seeing a lot from comments. I'm seeing a lot of, you know, oh, it was probably militia. Okay, if you knew anything about militias, you know they don't operate like that, and they wouldn't just go start a you're an idiot. Okay, you obviously have zero experience with actual militias. I've been around them. I've trained with them. That's not how they fucking operate. Excuse my language. It just irritates me. The other comment I see from the left that really kind of bothers me is the comment that, oh, it's just a red state, who cares, or probably some MAGA extremist that did it, you know, or even wishing death on us because it was a conservative state. I just want you to know, if you think that way, that you're an absolute vile, disgusting human being and you have no room on my channel, please leave. If you leave some ass comment, I'm going to delete you and block you. Simple as that. If you have that much hate in your heart, that imaginary divide that we have, if you hate someone based on an imaginary divide, I find you to be incredibly naive and highly manipulated. Simple as that. And you're not someone I can associate with. And if you're someone that wishes hate on someone simply because they have a different party affiliation than you, then you have no place in America. That's not what this country was founded on. You know, it's this divide is getting so bad that this is the kind of crap that we're seeing now, is that people wishing death on others or harm on others simply if they don't agree with their political viewpoint. It's become, you're either on my team or you're completely against me and I wish death on you. And this is mainly coming from the left. I want you guys to know that. I don't really subscribe to either party. I do fall more towards the right just because it's more logical to me. Okay? But I also can see the manipulation in the right and the conservatives, and I see both sides. Okay, so I don't try to take sides. I try to form my own opinion based on my observations, and my observations over the last couple years has been that the left is extremely vile, cruel, mean. They try to be bullies. They're just not insufferable people. That's my opinion of most of these lefties. Now, by all means, I got friends that are liberal, and in some ways I have some liberal viewpoints myself. But if I don't agree 100% with these people, I'm immediately a hateful person. I must be racist. And you know what? That rhetoric got old, and I got tired of hearing it. So I moved to northern Idaho, to an extremely conservative place. And you know what? I love it. I love this area because the crime is low. There's no trash on the streets. We don't have a homeless problem. I mean, you name it. All the things, the one give or take, the one pros and con is that we have long winters here. But I will take that over where I was living at in California any day of the week. Okay? Now, I like this area because you feel safe. You can leave your doors unlocked. I live in a high trust society, and it feels good. But this incident yesterday is a little too close for home. I literally was going to go mountain biking at the same time this all went down. And at the last minute, I decided to go to work. And I thank God for whatever reason. I was listening to the signals, or I was listening to messages yesterday, apparently. I was paying attention. And by the way, if you're watching this, I highly recommend you get in tune with God. You don't have to be religious. I just suggest you build a relationship with God. And other than that, you know, I feel really bad for the firefighters. They obviously didn't deserve this, but it's sad when, you know, there's so much division and hate, and when we should be coming together over something like this, you know. I really hope some people can wake up and realize the sort of vile, disgusting behavior that they've been displaying. I really hope so. You know, it's really not becoming it's not really human-like to think like that, in my opinion. I think that we all need to drop the hate, especially during times like this. But one thing's for sure is I'm not going to be able to go mountain biking on that mountain for about a month. Hold on. So one thing I can more than likely guarantee from this is that it will be in the national news for a week, and they're never really going to give us a motive. And all of the kids' social media has already been deleted. I went looking this morning. They forgot to delete the listing, though, for his college, his stats, his track stats. They forgot to delete that, so I have that. We know that he was a resident of Arizona. He's not from here. So what does that tell me? It tells me the kid was MK Ultra'd. That's what that tells me. Most of these shootings that you see, these mass shootings, these crazy events, they're meant to put you in a state of fear, right? Like, how can I trust going out in the woods now if there's crazy people out there? You know, what people don't understand is most of us pack firearms with us when we go out there. There's a lot of wildlife I've come across. Moose, bobcats, mostly female moose. And if anybody, you know anything, female moose are probably the scariest thing out there. I'd rather see a bear than a female moose, especially one that's territorial. So we all bring guns out there with us. You know, I just have a little Glock I bring with me. And so, you know, there's no reason for me not to feel safe out there. And this is obviously an isolated incident. So that part of the psy-op isn't going to work for most of us out here. You're definitely not going to scare me from going out in the woods. And you're definitely not going to paint this area as some Aryan nation's compound. Okay, we reject those hateful ideologies out here. We always have. That's why they got ran out back in the 90s and early 2000s. It's been 20 years since that kind of thing happened out here. So if you think that this area is full of that, I urge you to really get a reality check and talk to somebody who lives here, who actually has lived here for quite some time. You know, in the 15 years I've been here, I have not met one person that thought like that. That sort of ideology just doesn't exist out here. Sure, there are a few in the bunch, but is that a fair representation of all conservative people? No. Most conservative people out here are just working families that just want to raise a family, be able to afford a house. That's it. You know, you guys seem to put this blanket over it, and this is exactly what this psy-op is designed to do, is to create another blanket of fear, another division, more hate that the left has towards the right. You guys are going to blame MAGA all you want just because it's in this state. The kid was from Arizona, wasn't even from here. So wake up and think about this for a second. Who in their right mind would travel over 1,000, I mean, it's like 1,400 miles to Phoenix, Arizona. Who would travel that far just to go light a mountain on fire? Does that make any fucking sense to you? Excuse my language. I get irritated at this because the amount of ignorance that people comment online, and you can't change it. You can't change how people think, obviously. Maybe I can do my part to maybe change the way you feel about this area. I would love for that to happen. But, at the same time, I'm okay with you guys having a little fear and not wanting to come out here because it's getting crowded. We don't want you moving in here. The traffic's getting crazy. We're only 50,000 people out here, and I don't think we could handle 100,000. There's just not enough infrastructure, not enough roads, highways, and I don't want to live with that many people around here. So by all means, yeah, we're full of hate. We hate you all. Don't come around. It's all sundown towns out here, whatever you want to believe. I don't care. But I'm trying to set you guys straight on this shooting, at least. This was not a person from the area. They obviously didn't have the same MAGA ideologies implanted in them. So where you're getting this idea that it was some extreme right person, I don't know where you're getting that from. The kid was 20 years old. What do most of these shootings have in common? They're younger than 21, most of them. Most of these shootings are young kids, right around 18, 19 years old. And they all seem to have the nicest equipment. Like that one in New York, the kid had like a Daniel Day defense rifle, or he had like 3 of them or something. And the kid had a Burger King job part-time. Like, where do you get all that nice equipment from? Don't you guys ever question things like that? Like the kid had like $7,000 in rifles on a Burger King part-time job, and none of you guys question any of that. Are any of you going to question when the so-called motive comes out? Because you need to. You need to question everything. If it's on the news, it's there for a reason. It's not there to tell you the news. It's not there to inform you. It's there to rile you up. It's there to manipulate your psychology. Okay? The news isn't about news anymore. It's about clicks and revenue. It's about scary titles to get you to click. Right? Yeah, this is a horrible incident that happened yesterday, but I can guarantee you that something worse somewhere else in the country happened, but it didn't make national news. Now, why did this one make national news? Why is the shooter from out of state? These are things you guys need to be questioning. It's okay to question the narrative. In fact, question every angle, every aspect of every narrative is my opinion. So with that, I just want to leave you guys with just the thought that maybe you're being psy-oped on this. Just maybe. And what is the reaction? What is it that they want out of this? What is your initial psychological reaction to this event? For me, initially I thought, well, that's too close for home. I could have been stuck out there. I might have been shot. I could, whatever. But, call it like a survivorship guilt or something. But I don't know, maybe God was telling me not to go up there for some reason. I don't know. I thank God now. I don't know. But you guys you need to question this. This isn't normal. This is not normal behavior for people in this area. And like I said, he's not from the area. And with that, enjoy your June 30th Monday morning.